Good afternoon, Bolo.
Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Very well. You too?
I'm fine. I'm doing well.
Wow. We are here. We are here again.
Okay.
And we meet you again. We know you. I give you the name Bolo.
Yeah.
But nobody knows you, at least in the Netherlands. But here in Kliptown, many people know you. Tell us, who are you?
Well, in true sense, I am David Meyers.
David Meyers.
Meyers, yeah. I used to be called David Blom.
David Blom.
All right. And I carried that name for about, say, 35 years. You know, and then because of my mother and my father were not married. Now, I had a problem. My identity card, my green card, I got very late because my mother lost hers. She lost it in a place which in Kliptown, which was known as Albertainsville.
Yeah.
In 1942, there was a huge tornado that has thrown out, that has, demolished that whole city,
Yes.
that whole township.
Yeah.
And people's documents just got lost
And from everyone.
from everywhere. Now, if you go and make an ID copy,
Yeah.
first and foremost, you need to say who your parents is and produce the documents of your parents, your mother, your father.
Yeah.
And then what they will do from there, they will say, no, you are a citizen of South Africa.
Yeah.
You are entitled to have an ID document.
Yes.
So my mother lost hers.
Yeah.
So it was difficult for me
To get a new one, your own one.
to get my own one.
Yeah.
So I had to go to processes.
Yeah.
I had to go to the Home Affairs. I had to go to a place which they call, it's like a court, where they will question you, about the place, about your family, about yourself,
You have
It
to
was like-
convince them
Yeah.
that you are based here in
South
Kliptown,
Africa,
in
yeah,
South Africa.
You have to tell them, then they say, okay, that is the point. You have to go to the school
Yeah.
where you went to. You have to go to the hospital where you were born. Then it was also a problem because I wasn't born in a hospital. I was born by a midwife. You understand?
And so it's not registered.
It's not, the midwife does not register, You understand? And because of this new democracy now, everything has to be on paper,
Yeah.
and the regulations.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, I got everything, I got most of the things they needed. Then they said, okay, now we see everything that you have. Now, because your mother and father were not married, you can't be David Blom now. Now you must use your mother's surname.
Uh-huh.
Now you are David Meyers.
David Meyers.
Yeah.
Yes.
So your father is totally out of the question.
Yeah.
If your father will come and marry your mother,
Yeah.
then you can always come and change your surname.
Yeah.
You understand? So that is what it was. But to me, it wasn't important, on whose surname I am. You understand? It was more important to have a legal document
Yeah.
in the country.
That you exist.
That you understand that I exist,
Yes.
that I can use to go from point A to point B, that can represent me as a South African citizen.
Yes,
You
I
understand? That was the most important thing, you understand, for me, But when I looked at it, I saw it, I said, you know what, man, if this is so difficult, what was it like in the 1950s with the past laws? When people were evicted every day, where the Perry Eben has to
Yeah.
come in every day and break doors down
Yeah.
in the township, I remember when I was still a little boy, the police came and they kicked the door down. They don't knock. They kick it down. And once you sleep in there, they will tell you stay there. Then they count us. They count everyone who's there in the house. Then they look at, they say, where's the permit paper? Then they see the permit paper.
Was
If they
that also a problem of immigration?
No, it was a problem of immigration in the sense that, if I had to stay in Kliptown, you understand it, it was not possible for me to sleep in Soweto.
It was not allowed.
No, it was not allowed.
Yeah.
Before I go to Soweto, I need to go to the district office
Yes.
and say that, listen, I'm going to Soweto, I'm going to stay over there for 5 days. You understand? Now I must tell you to who am I going to, how long will I be staying.
So you must ask for permission.
I must ask for permission. Then they will grant me a letter with a stamp to say now you can go. It was a kind of system of already, regulations, you know, and trying to make sure that the black man shouldn't just move.
Yes, I understand. Now let's go back to your name.
Yeah.
Because I name you Bolo.
Yeah.
Where is that name coming from?
Huh?
Because you're not Blom, you're not Meyers, you're Bolo for
Yeah.
them.
So the name of Bolo, what happens is that growing up as a teenager, I used to be a martial art champ. I was one of the Northern Transvaal junior champs. And I was also a bully. You know, being a child sometimes you have this foolishness. You know, the minute you do martial arts, you also want to put it in practical terms to say, you know, what they teach me in the gym, does it really work? Let me go outside and try, you know. And it was this thing of, you know, hitting people, you know, for the sake of, you know, trying to prove yourself that you're a martial artist, you know. And then there was this movie that came in of Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
Enter the Dragon.
Yes.
It came in Bruce Lee.
Yes.
And there was that big guy there.
Yes.
Bolo! You understand?
It's from the movie to the dragon.
Yeah, Enter the Dragon.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
and I was also very muscular, you know.
Yeah.
And they say that when they see me, they say, Bolo! So this is where I picked
It's
that
your
name up.
nickname.
It's my nickname.
Yeah.
So I grew with that name, you know, and then I was also a goalkeeper. Then I picked up another name in the goalkeeping department. They used to call me Rubber Man, you know. But the Rubber Man one was only in this for the soccer.
Oh yeah.
But the Bolo one, I was moving around. And now, you know, with this new generation, you know, they now call me, then they started to call me Bolo.
Bolo, yeah. Because of your age.
Yeah, so then the next generation called me Bolo.
Yes.
Then the latest generation now, you know, this group of youngsters coming up now, they call me Ombi. I say Ombi. They say Bolo is too long.
It's too long.
Ombi
Yeah,
is
yeah,
easier. But nevertheless, I'm born and bred in Kliptown in a place called Tamati Place.
Yeah.
Kliptown is the oldest township in the entire South. It's the
Yeah,
oldest.
but first I want to ask you one other question before you will tell us about Kliptown. When I talk about you in the Netherlands and also over here in the Soweto Hotel and so on, I give you the name Papa Kliptown.
Yeah.
Do you understand why I do so?
No, but why do you call it Papa Kliptown?
Because you are a papa for the Kliptonians.
Yeah.
For some Kliptonians you are a papa. Is it true?
No, it's true. I'll tell you why I would say it's true. Remember the first youth club, you know, community development youth club was started by me. You know, it was started in the days of the apartheid in the early 80s. You know, and at the time there was no sources, you know, there was no funds, you know, almost within the apartheid there was no arts and culture and all these things, you know. And gradually we developed a lot of youngsters, you know, in sports, education, you know, and as it went on, you know, we also started a lot of elderly programs, environmental programs. And what I realized is that, you know, when I started to get committed to a family, my time was limited.
Yes.
So I couldn't do as much as I can now. I had to settle in first with the family, you know, and see, you know, the needs and the time. How do I use my time, you understand? But I was privileged to be part of that process.
Yes.
Because today, I'm one of the top researchers of Kliptown.
Yes.
And each and every door is open for me.
Yeah.
There's no door in Kliptown that I don't enter.
Yes.
There is no one on the old architectural buildings in Kliptown that doesn't know me. You understand?
That's so it is a good name to name it Papa Kliptown.
You understand? My door even today is open for everyone.
For everybody, yes.
You understand? And I still do a lot of work for everyone. You understand? Now, when you say Papa Bolo, you understand? It makes so much sense because, you know, being a Papa, you know, someone can come to you, you know, at any given time, you know, and say, listen, man, these are my needs, these are my challenges, these are my problems. And I'm always, you know, the type of person, you know, who wants to listen.
Yeah.
You know, I'm always there, you
And
understand?
every papa has the position that the people around you
Yeah.
can come to you, help you, listen to you, give you quality time,
Yes.
and so on. Every pop-up does.
Yeah. So I think those are some of the important things, you know.
Yeah.
Even now, I mean, when you came to my place, you know, I'm never alone.
No,
Never,
it's true.
never.
It's
I'm
true.
never alone.
Many
I never
people
have,
are
I never
walking
have my
around.
own town, my own time. You understand? Yeah? But I also think, you know, why I like this. You understand? Because in what I'm venturing now, because of all this, you know, in the community integration, you know, cultural diversity of our area. What made it to me is that, you know, I understood the lifestyle of Kliptown, the challenges of Kliptown, you know, the circumstances of Kliptown, you know, the advantages, the disadvantages of Kliptown. That's why, you know, I've established a cultural heritage museum, you know. Which
Yeah,
is
we
known-
will talk about it.
Yeah.
First, what is your age?
My age now is 58.
58.
Yeah.
So I'm 2 years older than you.
Yeah.
I'm 60.
You see?
So I thought you were 60 years old. But
No,
I wasn't sure.
No, you know what? I'll tell you something. When I went for my ID, you understand, the dates was wrong. The dates was totally wrong. You know, I was supposed to get grant already, man. I was supposed to eat mahala money. You know what mahala money is?
Yes.
It's free money.
Yes.
You know, I was supposed now, by now to eat the government's money for free.
Yeah.
You know, but now they put me 3 years back. 2 years back, I must wait.
That's terrible.
Terrible.
Shall I write?
That's robbery.
That's Robert. Shall I write a letter to President Zuma? I will help you. No, it's a joke. It's a joke. You are talking about Kliptown.
Yeah.
You are not talking about Soweto.
No.
Please explain the difference between Kliptown and Soweto,
Yeah.
and also why are you a Kliptonian and not a Sowetan?
All right. Now, the reason why I cannot be a Sowetan, you know, first and foremost, is that Kliptown is older than Soweto.
Yes.
Kliptown is now celebrating 112 years. You understand? 111, 112 years. Kliptown was proclaimed in 1903.
1903.
Yeah, it is an offspring of Kliptown State, which was proclaimed in 1891.
Yes.
You understand? Soweto started in 1929, 1930. You understand? Now the reason why Soweto was never part of the forceful removals. Soweto was a receiver
Yes.
of the forceful removals.
Yes.
The tribalist system was practiced in Soweto, the divide and rule system.
Yes.
What they did with the forceful removals, I still remember clearly. They used to come to Kliptown with these big trucks, Dodge trucks, you understand, with the double dips, and they would now come and look at the tribal system to say Zulu, Sutu, Pedi, Changan, Indians and colored, you understand. So what they did for the colored community, they started in 1962 to build, people moved into Munchibel. The first development in El Dorado Park is Munchibel. Then Soweto, then they came, they took all the, sorry, then they came, they took all the African, all the African indigenous nations, like your Zulu, Sutu, Pedi, Tswanas, and what they did in Soweto, they did not put them in one place. They had different sections, a Zulu section, a Sutu section,
Yes.
a Changan section,
Yes.
a Venda section, you understand? So
And in Kliptown everything was mixed up?
it was
no problem?
No, it was mixed up. So in the 60s, they had the perception that they want to claim Kliptown as a colored township.
As a colored?
Yeah, township. But it was late because in Kliptown already we had Europeans staying there.
Yes.
You understand this thing. The 1948 laws of apartheid came late because when they started, there was already a lot of mixed marriages. You understand? And a lot of us, I mean, you just listen to my surname, Blom.
Yes.
Blom is not an African surname.
No, not at all.
You understand? So many black people you understand, in Kliptown, there's European surnames. And they also, because of the mixed marriages, you know, colors was also produced from that, you understand.
Yeah.
Now, also within the colors, in one family you'll find one light in complexion, the other one dark in complexion, the other one super white. You know, in one family you'll find one's got a white identity card, the other one will got a colored identity card, and the other one will get another color, you know, the ones with a stuffed hair like me. You know, and it's one family. And that also brought discrimination within the families. You know, there was a lot of uncertainty.
It divided,
It divided the family because now they were telling each other, you black, me I'm colored, you African.
And there also was a hierarchy in between. The colored people, the black people, and so on.
You see, so...
What is the hierarchy?
Well, what it means, it was, you know, this thing to say that, you know, the privileges. You know, colors had more privileges than black people, you understand, And colors even had more privileges than Indians. Indians were not privileged. You know, they were the last group, I think.
It's the last group.
Yeah.
It's the lower part.
The lower part, you understand. The Chinese did not know where to they fit.
No.
You know, they always wanted a space, but they never knew where are they. But nevertheless, so when Soweto was built, you know, when Soweto was built, then they removed people from Kliptown into Soweto. Now, fortunate for us, some other Kliptonians, you know, we were forced as a technical move against the apartheid government to speak Afrikaans fluently.
Oh yeah?
You understand? Now the Afrikaans, the police and the, you know, the Afrikaans police and authorities, you know, once you have spoken their language, you are a friend. You know, they can speak to you. They will understand you. So when if you speak, you know, Afrikaans, they will say, no, this one cannot go to Soweto. They speak Afrikaans. They are the other colors, you understand? And so that's why I was privileged to remain in Kliptown. I couldn't go to Soweto.
No, I understand. And the origin of Kliptown, I read something about there was a mining over here in Joburg, and people around the mine or something, they were living here in Kliptown. That's true?
Well, I stand to be corrected. In 1886, with the discovery of gold in Johannesburg. Now, what happens was that there were more immigrations working in the mines. You understand? I think there were only 46 or 36% of South Africans working in the mine.
Only 6%?
6%. No, 46 or 6%, but they were the minority, the South Africans working in the mine. So people came from all over Kenya, Tanzania, Malawi, you know, and they came to work in these mines, you understand? But at that time, Kliptown was a freehold area, you understand? Because it was still under Kliptown estate. So the importance those years, you understand, Kliptown estate, which was a farm state, provided, you know, be one of the top suppliers, you know, to the miners, you know, with dairy products, crops, you know, meat and cheese and everything. It was dispatched from Kliptown. And in those years, it was still known as the old Zuid-Afrika, not South Africa. You understand? So that was Kliptown's role. You understand? So most of the other people, you know, the foreign people, you understand, they could not get a vacancy within the mine. They all came to Kliptown, you know, because it was a freehold. This is the reason why. Kliptown has always been seen as a place of hope and a home for refugees and a place of possibilities, you know. So then they came and they settled in Kliptown.
Still there?
It's still now.
It's a cradle of hope?
It's a cradle of hope. If you look at now the markets here outside, 99% of the people selling in the markets are from Africa. It's not, you see, with us, what I've realized is, with us as South Africans, you know, we still need to go through a healing process. You know, there is still this reconciliation process that we need to go through.
It's still going on.
We still need to go through it because there's certain things which is still in our heads. You know, we were always told as black South Africans that, you know, you are nothing.
Yes.
And you will never be something.
Yes.
You know, and we never had the right to start a business. Not all of us, some people did. But some of the locals, you know, they always believe that, you know, the white man must tell them how to do it and what to do. And even what made it even worse, you know, when you go and work, you know, you could not use your own initiative and your own knowledge. You had to wait for a foreman to tell you. Even if you see it's wrong, you know, the foreman must come and say, remove this thing. You understand? Do this. You know the system, but you had no right. You understand? Now the reason why is that we had no right to start businesses in South Africa.
Is it also the origin of the idea of Nelson Mandela that people up to a certain income, they don't pay any taxes because the people must be in the get the opportunity to start their own business because that kind of economy gives you self-esteem and so on.
Well, you see what the Mandela story is that the good things of Mandela. When Mandela was released, what he gave us? He gave us, you know, the abilities and the platform, you know, for us to express ourselves.
Yes.
In the working place,
Yeah.
you know, in speaking,
Yes.
you know, in presenting ourselves and using our minds, our knowledge,
Yes.
you know.
Yeah.
He wanted us that we should know and understand, you know, who are we?
Yeah.
And what the difference can we do in this country, you
So
know.
on the social level,
Yeah.
on the economic level,
right.
all the levels.
All the levels, you understand. And the only problem that I would find that Mandela has made, you understand, it is that when Mandela was released, you understand, at the time when the apartheid government was there, you know, there was these restrictions, like I just tell you that I couldn't just sleep in Soweto. They made sure that the place, you know, the area, the environment and the township, you know, is being kept by a certain amount of people. You know, the population should not be above. Now, when Mandela was released, you know, everybody saw an opportunity, you know, in order for us, you know, to achieve, you understand, and to achieve and to reach our vision and our targets, you know, we must all flee to Johannesburg. Now, people came from all over. Now, how would you see that? Kliptown was not a place of squatter camps.
No.
Now you'll find squatter camps came up all over.
Yes.
You understand? It's the spirit of freedom
Yes.
and democracy. But now it's good. You understand? But do we have the space and the jobs enough, you know, and the provision enough for everybody? We don't have that.
So it's too much open up.
It's too much open up. Now, when it's too much open up now, it's also a problem because now it's not only the people in our nine provinces that comes, it's people also from Africa. Now, everyone that comes here now has his own agenda.
Yeah, but that's true. But this is the actual circumstances from the last years, you might say.
Yeah.
But in the beginning,
Yeah.
when Nelson Mandela came out of the prison and he was the first president, there was different circumstances, and from the beginning all the people from Africa came to South Africa?
There was.
Or was it later on?
No, there was already. Remember that some of them came with the mines
Yes.
and they already had families here. No, it was not easy for the other ones to come through the border.
During apartheid?
Yeah, during apartheid, you know. Then they came, you know, through the Kruger National Park.
Yeah.
All this, you understand?
Yeah.
10 come in the river, you know. 7 has been eaten by the crocodiles. Only 3 make it, you know. You understand?
Yeah.
But now everybody came. That's why. That's why I have this saying to say that, you know, Kliptown has always been seen as a cradle of hope. You know, if you immigrate, if you come from Africa, you want to go to a place, you know, where it's mixed, where you would not be easily identified. To say that, you know, if I'm amongst these people, I look like them, I'll behave like them until I find my feet where I want to be or what I want to do. You understand? Now Kliptown is that place. It gives you the free spirit of
Yes.
freedom of movement, you know.
Let's go back to the early days, and because of the sentence you said about freedom. We are here now on an historic place. This is Freedom Square.
Yes.
This is Soweto Hotel, it's part of Freedom Square. And tell us the story about Freedom Square's Freedom Charter, please.
Well, you see, I am busy at this right now. I'm busy to do a political Freedom Charter documentary. There's two serious projects which I'm busy with. It's a Freedom Charter documentary, and it's also a Defiance Campaign documentary. Now, amongst all the provinces that we have, you understand it, Kliptown has contributed almost about, say, 70% for this democracy. You understand? Although, you know, there's nothing that we can do now because even within this 10 years of democracy, you know, we haven't seen much change in Kliptown. You know, but politically, you know, this is the mother of all. Kliptown is a town amongst towns. Kliptown has given birth to Soweto, Eldorado Park, Lenasia, you know, and so many other people who live in the suburb, you know. If you say Kliptown, everybody's eyes opens up wide. You understand? But now, there was this lady in Kliptown, before Mandela's time, she was known as Charlotte McClurkin. She was an artist, you know, she was in a group of a choir, and she was from the Eastern Cape, and they went to the US, and they went to perform there. And when their funds got up and the others had to come back, she was fortunate to get a scholarship, you know, in one of the universities there, which is known as, but I'll get you the name now of that university. Get that name for you now. You know, when she started there, you know, and Wilberforce University in the States. And this is where she started, you know, a political interest. Now, because what has happened in the States, there was this thing that, you know, in the churches, that the black people must sit on top, on the balconies, and the white people must sit downwards, closer to the pastor, to the pulpit. Now, what happens is that then there was this one day in the church in the States where they gave Holy Communion. You know, they gave Holy Communion, and by giving this Holy Communion, they would give the white people first Holy Communion, and then the white people leave, then the black people must come down and have it. And this group of black people, they were just fed up, you know, and when it was Holy Communion, they all left the church. But they had their own Holy Communion. And they went down the street singing, you know, and they came across a blacksmith, you know, and they got to the blacksmith, and I asked the blacksmith, please can we have Holy Communion in your space? And they allowed them to have Holy Communion in your space. And then from there onwards, they started, you know, the African, you understand, Methodist Church. This is where the name comes now, the AME Church started now there. And that was one of Kliptown, and then from there, Charlotte McClurkin, what she did, her husband was also a reverend, and there was also reverends that she knew on this side. And then what she did, she sent money from the US to tell them to build a church.
Over here? In Kliptown?
In Kliptown, which is known as the AME Church. This is the church where the Freedom Charter was adopted. It's also the church where the national anthem was written.
So it is a church of a little bit rebellion, isn't it?
Rebellious, bro, you know, distant rebellious.
Distant rebellions.
But when it came here, then it was closer rebellions.
You
understand? So what has happened is that, so when Charlotte McClurkin came back from the States, she was a social worker, she was, you know, she was so many things, you understand? Then she started, you know, the movement, political movement, you know. she was now busy putting people together.
And so it was in the church, was it also in shebeens and so?
It was, because what happens is that you must
Yes.
remember that people couldn't just speak politics the way they want. You know, they had
In
to
public,
go
on street view.
Yeah, you know, they had to go to a shebeen, you know.
Yeah.
And like we said now, and they say, you know what,
Yeah, yeah.
this and this and this. That is where a lot of meetings also took place. This is the reason why, on my research, I said that, you know, Kliptown is truly an eco-museum. Each and every old house that you see in this area has a story, a political story. Because people on their tables, they spoke, you know. People in their beds, they spoke, you know.
And didn't the police come in? And
No, they did.
They did?
They did. This is how they came with your peri-urban system, you know, your past laws, you know, your unrest areas, you understand them. But people were quiet. Now, me, I call my project the Teardrops of the Candlelight.
Teardrops of the candlelight.
Yeah. Now, if you light a candle and someone knocks,
Yeah.
it's the quickest to
Yeah.
just do
Yeah,
this.
yeah. Then the light is gone.
Light is gone.
Yeah.
You know, if you hear something outside, now with the candle also, us as Africans, before we do anything and we light the candle, we would look the candle for about 5 to 10 minutes. The candle will tell us should we write or not. The candle will tell us what the spirit is. Is it a clean spirit? Is it an unclean spirit? Now if the candle stands dead still,
Yeah.
it means that no, it's clean.
It's clean.
There's no spirit in the house. We can write. If the candle does this,
Yeah.
the guys today we can't write.
So then the spirit is there, a bad spirit.
The spirit is there. Something can happen. We will be arrested.
And it is,
Anything.
and now it is still putting into practice.
People are now, you see also, that's why I say sometimes, you see with democracy and, you know, with the digital world, you know, and everything is changing, you know. Some of our children does not even know what the candle is. You know, some
But
of
the
them,
elderly people,
the
they
elderly
know.
people, they know.
And they-
But no, I'll tell you, that is one thing. The democracy of this country was written under a candlelight. The Freedom Charter documents was written under a candlelight.
Here in Kliptown,
Yeah.
in the African church.
Besides, you see what they did.
Yes, yes, please
When
explain.
they started the defiance campaign that people should write, you know, and submit, you understand, their perception of how should a democratic South Africa look like. What would they want to see, you know, a document that could be presented to the apartheid government. You understand, everybody had to go home, you know, everyone had a piece of paper. You know, everybody submitted, you know. We would like to have a proper education, houses, you know, a proper job, you know, remove the past laws, you know. And what happens was that then all the people who submitted, you know, from different provinces as well, it was compiled.
It was brought together.
It was put together. Then a group like your Amakatranas, you know, your King Meyers and them, all the big politicians, you understand that they had to sit down and look at the similarities, you know, and from there to say, okay, this is what the public is saying, you know, this is what the nation is saying, you know. Out of this, let's compile a document which is known as a freedom, it's a charter that South Africa must utilize, you know, for black and white. You understand?
So it's a very good example of participatory democracy.
Yeah, you understand?
Because the people made it, it was only compiled together in one document.
That's right.
But
you
it's from the
understand?
people.
Yeah. But then, Charlotte McCracken already started it. You understand? Charlotte McCracken worked with the Chinese, she worked with the Jewish, she worked with the Indians, she worked with African counterparts, and she worked with South Africans. You understand? She had several meetings in their church. You understand? Charlotte McCracken is the founder of the ANC Women's League. You understand?
Yeah.
Charlotte Makweka is an era before Mandela. Now, me, when I do these researches of mine, I ask myself, so Firetown was the place of Mandela, and then, the glitz and glamour place, and when I speak to people, in Firetown, in that area, so Firetown, also in Izare, there was also a Freedom Square.
Yeah.
Now, those years, that site in Firetown, Mandela was known as a powerful lawyer. He was a top black lawyer.
Yeah.
But there were much bigger politicians than him. Stronger politicians.
Yes.
Now I ask myself, if everything was in Firetown, why did they come to Kliptown?
Yes. It's a good question, of course.
You understand? And
what did you find out?
I found out to say that, the reason why Kliptown, because it was already mixed. Everybody was already.
It was already on a rainbow nation.
Yeah, it was already a rainbow nation. You understand? On the right side, white people were living. You understand? On the south, there was whites living. On the west, there was whites living. We had our Nansfield suburb, our Nansfield farm, our Kliptown area, our Pomvel area. So what happens was that there was already smoke in Kliptown, political smoke.
Yes.
You understand?
Yeah.
So then Mandela, through Walter Sisulu, to a lady who's known as Dr. Mary. Walter Sisulu knew her. You understand? And this is how Mandela got also introduced to Kliptown. And this is also where now they saw that this is the place because there's already political activities happening. You understand?
Yeah.
And where we sit now was the soccer field. Now, lots of times people would have come with a truck and sit and put on a football gear. It seems like they're going to play. They're not playing, they're having a meeting on the truck. There was always a trick for the police,
They never knew.
They never knew. But when Charlotte was taken in 1931, when she passed on, then she left the entire political movement to the pastors. Your Reverend Sir, your Reverend Meyers, your Reverend Makrangu, and that is the time now when Nelson Mandela came to Kliptown. Now, that is a time, I think it was 1953, 1952 to 1954, or it could be 1954.
So this was a fruitful ground for Nelson Mandela to grow.
So then what happens was that now the work that Charlotte Makweka did needed a name. It also needed a name. What was Charlotte Makweka's movement known? So then the name never came out. You understand? It was just people coming together, not to overthrow the government, but to create a better living standard.
Yes.
And a standard of peace and try and get rid of police brutality, try and get this thing, try to get a breakthrough, that abusers, and all these things, police abuse, physical abuse, mental abuse, all of this, the police, the strong hand of the police to soften it. So, this is now when this thing started now, the Defiance campaign. You understand? Because all parties was there.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
Kliptown is the only township. You understand? And within the Defiance campaign, the campaigning for the Freedom Charter, there was only 4 congresses. There was the Indian Congress.
The Indian.
There was the African, there was the Native Bantu Congress.
Yeah.
Then there was the Colored Liberation Party.
Yeah.
Although we do not deny, there was also your, what is this other party name? PAC. There was also your PACs, your Aswapos. They were all there. You understand? So the day when they came here, it was not an ANC gathering. No. It was a Congress of the people.
Yeah.
People coming together. You understand it? And coming to present a document that will give them comfort and freedom, and give them a better life.
Yeah.
But apparently it didn't work. You know, the security forces did not accept it, and people had to flee from those premises. You know, some of them fled some in the river, you know, some were eaten, some were kicked by horses and stuff like that. And they took the document and they went to the W.W. Brown Church. You know, that was one of the top churches as well. Next to the church, this is where Mandela had his first meeting with the people. And then from there, the ones who had the document, they ran to the IME church. And the document was signed, and from there the document was taken to Bloemfontein. You understand? So since then, everything went quiet. Because now it was treason trial. You understand? Yeah. Because what they did was treason.
Yeah.
So they had to, now this was the time when they went to pick them up one by one. You know, that was the time they said that now we're going to finish all this ANC and these members. You know, this is what is also what caused them, the comrades to end up in Robben Island.
Understand. So when I read about the history of South Africa, many attentions go to Soweto, to Joburg area. But there were few other big cities, like Cape Town, like Durban and so on. What happens over there?
You see, I'll tell you something. Me, I want to be honest to you.
Yes, please.
What I've seen is that because of the 1976 uprising, most of the children who ran away and say they went into exile, when they came back, most of them got positions in parliament. You understand? Now, Soweto is known internationally for the June 16 event.
Yes.
So that has given Soweto a platform.
Yeah.
You understand? That has given Soweto a platform to say, you know what, yeah. The 1976, you understand, uprising was not for democracy, was for education. It was a term, you understand, that the school children did not approve of the educational system. The curriculum was not what they wanted, you understand, because Afrikaans was not their first language.
No.
You understand? So that was it. It was not that the 1976 uprising brought democracy to us. Whatever happened in Kliptown was the democratical fight for a better life, including the anti-education and stuff.
Yeah.
You understand? Now, because of all these exiles that came there, what they do, they put all the gold, the emphasis over Soweto. Now, another thing is that also, a lot of them doesn't know much about Kliptown. You understand? They don't know much about Kliptown. So what they do, they know that yes, the Freedom Charter was adopted here. So what? You understand? Much deeper. You know, the preparations, the planning, you know, how it happened, how it started, you know, they don't have that. You understand? So that's why I say, I still believe that you cannot do a Soweto tour if you haven't done a Kliptown tour. Yeah. If you ask me now as a tourist, how was Soweto formed? The people that lived in Soweto, where did they come from? I need to tell you. Yeah. You understand? They were moved there by the forceful removals and settled within this thing, a tribal system. This is where Soweto comes from.
Yeah.
You must start at the bottom.
Yes.
Your tour must start at the bottom.
Yeah.
Kliptown will tell you, you understand, that Soweto, we made it, we built it. Now it's the opposite. You understand? Soweto's got more, you know, emphasis than Kliptown.
Yeah.
You understand? Mm-hmm. And it's not right. Because
but Kliptown is the forgotten part of this area, isn't it?
It is.
It is forgotten.
It is forgotten, but you cannot forget the beginning of things. No, you cannot forget people like Charlotte McCracken, who has also made it possible for Nelson Mandela, who has made it possible for this democracy. You understand?
This tricks me to the question, how come that all these people who were already active before Nelson Mandela stood up, because he was a lawyer, he was a well-known lawyer, but he was not the face of new democracy, you might say.
Not yet.
In the beginning, not yet.
Not yet.
How come that everybody accepts Nelson Mandela as the statue, as the main person in this development?
Well, you see what? Me, I'll tell you something. You know, people can make you, people can break you.
Yes.
You know, just by having a name like Nelson Mandela, you know, although he was in the youth league when a lot of things happened, you know, and really, I also think that amongst the other comrades, you know, they were not happy. And Nelson Mandela also said it himself. He says, please, man, don't do everything around me. I wasn't alone. There's people who did much more than what I did.
Yeah.
You understand? Don't want to give all the emphasis and recognition to me. You understand? I was there, but I wasn't alone. Now, me, what I'm saying is that the people of Kliptown, who has made also Nelson Mandela, you know, today, you understand?
And Nelson Mandela by himself understands.
Yeah.
And he also recognized that this is really the truth.
You understand? Now, me, I say, if you're a parliamentarian, if you're a president, if you sit there, ask yourself that, you know, who are the people that we have benefited from?
Yeah.
How many people is underground?
Yeah.
You know, how many people has left their children today that doesn't even have a job? You understand? That stood up for this country. You know, in the olden days, you know, you couldn't even just take a message and give it to someone. You know, in South Africa, there was this thing of the women. You know, they used to sell vegetables on their head. There was no vegetables to be sold. This was messages getting across because the police never expected it. You see a lady goes with this thing, a dish on her head, with potatoes or whatever. Under those potatoes, there's lettuce. So she will come to a certain house, then she say, millies, or potatoes. Then someone says, come in. Then she goes in. When she goes in, she knows exactly.
But these heroes, nobody knows.
Yeah, you know, then she will deliver the letter. Some of them will sit on the street and sell millies. You know, they will sell millies. And if you go there, a car will just pull up and that car will do this. You understand, number 3. So then this lady knows that the third letter, you know, letter number 3 belongs to them. So what she'll do? So sorry.
No problem.
She's got a small boy here with her. And then what she'll do, she'll take the maize, the corn, what is covered, you know, with the leaves.
Yes.
And in the leaves, the letter would be there.
Oh, yeah.
And then she will tell the boy, take it and give it to that car. That was now your email and your faxes, you know. Do you know, the people were so wise and intelligent for the apartheid government, you know. You know, they understood every movement of the apartheid government. They knew that we will not provoke them. This is now when they speak about underground. Yes. You know, when someone says that, you know, what was the underground movement in terms of social political communication? How did they get letters across to one another?
Yes.
These are the things that they did. You understand? Some of them took them with bread, you know. Some of them will bake dumpling and put it under a dumpling, you know. There's a lady that I know, she's now 98 years. Charlotte McClurkin made an apron for her. One pocket here, 2 pockets here, and 1 big pocket in the back. She was at the age of 12 years. She knew exactly where to take all these letters. You understand?
Yeah.
She was a messenger.
Yeah.
She was not expected to be a messenger.
No.
She will just run and they come there, she give this letter to the Jewish man, then she'll go there to an Indian man, she'll give them the letter there, then she'll go there, she'll deliver another letter, then she receives another letter. You understand? At the end of the day, she bring all the letters together. The General Secretary of Charlotte McBaker, you know, the office is just here, you know, and then she will look at the letter, communications, what's happening so far.
Yeah, so these are wonderful expression of why Nelson Mandela accept that he is not on his own, but many people around him were also active. And now back to the question, please. Everybody knows that now, because you told us, but how come that the white people thought that Nelson Mandela is the right person to deal with, to end apartheid?
Let me tell you something. It is not what they think. It is what was done.
Yes, please.
You
Explain.
understand? You know, within the 27 years of Nelson Mandela, the people with vast interest in the minerals of South Africa had a problem. If South Africa may go on to a civil war, they will lose a lot.
Yes.
Diamonds, gold, you know, every
Yes.
bit of minerals that
Yeah.
we had.
Yeah,
And,
it's a very rich country.
Yeah, and they had to come up and say, you know, we need to find someone that we will groom to become a president. Someone that the nation listens to. Someone that knows when he speaks, everybody listens.
Yes.
They are submitting.
Yeah.
And Nelson Mandela was the man.
A charismatic leader.
Yeah, they said that we need a leader. Because remember also what has happened. When Nelson Mandela was in prison, the country was also now on term to face bankruptcy. A lot of other countries internationally has pulled out and sanctions came against South Africa.
So the whites were economically spoken, they were forced
You understand?
to do something and to end apartheid.
Yeah. So then the people of your Anglo-Golds and your Anglo-Americans and all
Yes.
these other people who has a financial interest in the country, they had to say that, you know, we need to see a person that would be a leader, but a leader with wisdom, that's intelligent, that wants to build this country. You understand? And this is the reason why Nelson Mandela, you know, they had several discussions with him. They spoke to him. They asked him when we will release you, you know, what can we expect in South Africa, you know, and all these things, you know, they tried, you know, to say that, you know, they would like to say, come South Africa, as South Africa is developing, you understand me, and the apartheid government with Mr. de Klerk also already had a problem because now the country was going down, you understand, and this is how Mandela came in. You understand? This is how Mandela, when he was released, you know, and this is how they had to start now, negotiating with your Codesa 1, 2, and 3 and all that. You understand? The white government, they knew they would have never win the votes. Because they were minority.
Yes, of course,
You know,
a small
but
minority.
the problem they had was that, you know, if Mandela takes over, you understand, these people are terrorists. They will kill us all white people.
And that Mandela already knew that there will be reconciliation and so on. Did Mandela already negotiate about it with the white people?
No, what has happened is that when Mandela got presidency, now there was this time of healing the wounds. Now, I still believe that, you know, if they had to start it from the top, not from the middle, starting from the top, you know, God speaking to the white people, said, listen, the white people of South Africa, this is how much damage you have caused to the black people of South Africa. Please come and let us understand and let us go in South Africa and try and heal the wounds. Whether it is socially, whether it's educationally, whether it is a knowledge, you understand, come and bring back. You know, it's like now.
But was it already a subject during the discussion when Nelson Mandela wasn't released, but still in prison, and he spoke with the white people, with the white government, how to organized post-apartheid? Was it already at that time one of the aspects they discuss about for reconciliation, no revenge, and so on?
Well, you see, the one for Mandela's slogan was the same as what's his name, as Martin Luther King, non-violence.
From the beginning on.
From the beginning already.
It was also the problem when he once decided to use violence,
Exactly.
he was put into
He
prison.
said that no non-violence, you know. When Mandela came out, the first thing he spoke about is peace. You know, let us not mess up this country. Let this country be a country of peace. You know, let it not be a violent country. But even before that, our parents taught us that. You know, our parents, especially our mothers, they used to work for the apartheid government. They used to see the enemy in his face every day. You know, our mothers were bitten by dogs, they were eaten by the white people, so many things. But when they come home, and we sit around the bonfire and have a family dialogue, you know, and they will teach us discipline, morals, you know, respect, you know, and how should we respect the white people, you know, how superior the white people are, you know. We should never speak bad about them. We should never lock arms against them, you understand? So we were already taught.
In spite of violence, in spite of all bad things of white people, there was still
spirit of forgiveness.
and also
acceptance.
Ubuntu.
Ubuntu, yeah. You know, spirit of acceptance. You understand what I'm saying? But
Better times will come.
yeah, but there was never a time, you know, where as South Africans, you know, really thought that, you know, they'll take this country over by arms. Although there was a situation on the borders, you know, all the borders around South Africa, you know, where the military wings of Umkhonto we see where the terrorists, you know, wanted to come in. So that was stopped immediately, you know. Now, it was stopped in such a way that the apartheid government and those of the vested interests, they saw it's boiling outside. Outside is a wall of fire of South Africa. And South Africa is going to become smaller and smaller, and it will explode on the inside now. And once it explodes on the inside and on the outside, it will be chaos. So they said, we need to act quick.
Yeah.
You understand that? First things to do is that release Mandela.
And well, before finishing the interview, please tell something about the present social life of Kliptown.
Well, I would say the present social life of Kliptown. We have a challenge. We have one huge challenge. We are overpopulated.
Yes.
And we do not have enough room for everyone. And it's a challenge because if we are so many, you know, poverty, the poverty status is growing higher. You know, HIV/AIDS becomes a bigger threat. You understand, yeah? Unemployment, it's another threat. You understand, yeah? And what we're trying to say is that, you know, now crime is on the back foot. But what we have, we're lucky in Kliptown, you know, we have not, it's not a place where we have crime of killings. You know, we have small crimes of people who want to survive. Pickpocketing, grabbing someone's cell phone, selling it quick, you understand. Now also that is not so much of survival because now we have this huge influx of drugs that came in South Africa, not only in Kliptown.
Yeah.
Now the younger generation, you understand, they do not see now, if they are so much involved in these drugs, they are now bringing their own future down. Because now, you know, with drugs is at your brain cells and everything, you will not be normal in another 10 years' time.
And can social life fight against drugs?
But those are, you know, the challenges that we have at this point.
And how do you solve it?
You see by solving it, you know, it is not good to say, you know, we need to screen everybody and send foreigners home.
Yeah.
It's not a right thing that I would say. You understand it? But I would think that, in order for us to do this, if Kliptown can be reconstructed and developed in a housing way, you understand? You see, where people live together like this, there's almost no control.
Yes.
But when people live in a long, in a street,
Yeah.
where you could see there's someone coming, there's that one is going to his house. You understand? I'm talking about, movement, space, and stuff like that. You understand? Yeah. Now you could see, exactly, because now it is easy for someone to mark someone to run in a passage. You won't find him. There's 200 passages. If he goes into that one, there's still 99 passages waiting for him.
Yes.
How is the cops going to chase him?
Yeah.
But if there is formal housing, there's no way you will run. Because you'll be seen from a distance.
Yeah.
Even you, when someone wants to mark you, you're seen from a distance.
Social control.
Yeah, you understand. So what I'm saying is that our place is one of the nicest places, I love this place. I really love this place. I wouldn't move to anywhere else, to go and love, because I've made my mark, I've made so much good friends, I've made so much, I have adopted so much children from a social life, I love it because, the Lord has blessed me so much to become a blessing to this community. Now, if I may move out of Kliptown to go and live anywhere else, I'll die of being bored. Because I want to be amongst the people.
Yeah.
My wife asked me the other day, why don't you buy a car, man? Let's buy a car.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I said, to buy a car, it's not a bad thing. I'm so sorry. I'm waiting for this guy, man. Sorry, Janneke, I'm so sorry. Hello? Hello? Yeah. Nee, maar ek is nie by die huis nie, Lans. Ja, maar ek luister hier so, jy's laat. Ja. Maar kom, miskien so vaak nog as ek jou maar net brief, maar jy's laat. Alright, sharp. You understand? So, I'm very sorry, man. I was waiting for this guy. He was supposed to see me at 4 o'clock. I arranged an appointment with him for somebody. But, my wife said, buy a car, man. I said, you know what? When I leave the house and go anywhere in Kliptown, I must greet, and I will be greeted by more than 50, 60 people.
Yeah.
That is just to show that, the interaction.
Yes.
This thing, the social cohesion which I have for the people, the spirit of Ubuntu. Whoever sees me, they see me in such a way, that Bolo can make the impossible possible. But if I have a car, I'll be totally cut away from the people. I said, but I will buy a car. But I will buy a car, for emergency or to go somewhere. But in general, I like to walk because my life is around the people. I like to talk to people. I like to meet people. I like to talk to children. I always said, for me to become a tour guide, I'm just another type of tour guide because I have always people, even when I'm with guests, there's always people who want to meet the guests, they want to talk to the guests because it's how they accept me. I'm not the guy who's always stuck up, who's a nosy guy, who's an arrogant person. In a place like Kliptown, you cannot live an arrogant life. You cannot live a life of status. You must always see yourself within the same level of the people. You understand? But that is not a problem. Our biggest challenge is that, if we can if we can get a lot of jobs, opportunities, empower young people, send them to schools, teach them, to have a skill, enlighten them, the importance of life, try and change this environment, and make it a better living environment, you understand, put certain principles and policies in place, for the people to live, then Kliptown is the best place. There's no better place than Kliptown.
Thank you very much for this interview.
Okay.
What question did I forgot to ask you?
I think I would say, it's what is the future of Kliptown.
What is the future of Kliptown?
Yeah, where is Kliptown heading to? Where does it come from? Where it is now and where it's going to? Coming from this huge political participation, and where it is standing. It is standing still for all this contribution that it's made. Is it moving anywhere? And if it's moving, which direction is it moving to?
And please give us the answer.
I would say that, we are moving to a direction, where Kliptown will be one of the most beautiful cities. I always say that, Kliptown is smaller than a city, but it's larger than a village. But we can make it a small, beautiful city to come to. Kliptown is the city of Soweto. Soweto has malls, but Kliptown is a city. You understand? If we can have a mall in Kliptown, no one will go to the Soweto malls. The Mapoya malls will only have people from Soweto. So what I'm saying is that, I would love to see, the Kliptown CBD being developed, to a proper city. It must be a place where you say that, you can go out with your family. Kliptown has it all. Kliptown has one of the best tourist destinations. It lacks the entertainment side. It lacks with the, sites, how would I say, shopping sites. It lacks nightlife. You understand? It has a social environment on its own.
Yeah.
Now, if we can just add, the necessary things that Kliptown needs, a proper nightlife structure, people can come at night,
For cinema or
for
something.
cinema, although we are now busy trying to rebuild it and choose the cinema, having some clubs, there's a hotel in Kliptown, there's a lot of other things, we need about maybe another 10 items, for Kliptown to explode, that everybody would want to see Kliptown, It's almost competing with your Sandton, with your Rosebank, with your Greater Johannesburg, where people can start walking, Also have Christmas lights when it's Christmas time, where families can come out, and interact and, build a social cohesion. This is what we see because Kliptown deserved that.
Yeah.
For what it has contributed, it deserved that. Kliptown deserves to be the town amongst towns because politically there is no town like Kliptown. Is it enough?
It's beautiful, beautiful. Thank you very much. You told a lot, and you brought up historical consciousness. You might say that is very important, but also make steps forwards, look forward, and one very important lesson. Mobility kills social cohesion. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Bolo, thank you very much.
So when is the tour